Zimbabwe and Iran established diplomatic relations back in February 1983. And of course, over time, relations between the two countries have continued to grow tremendously. And under the Second Republic, Zimbabwe sent a good number of high-level delegations to Iran. And likewise, Iran has done the same, sending as well high-level missions to Zimbabwe. And as we speak, the president of Iran is in Zimbabwe for a state visit, where we get to understand more in terms of the significance of that. And this visit is coming at the back of the 8th and the 9th sessions of Zimbabwe-Iran Joint Permanent Commissions on Cooperation, popularly known as the JPCC. And the first one was held in Harare in August 2023. The second one was held in Iran in February 2023. Now to talk about this in terms of its significance and how it can help the country move forward. Today in the building to understand what exactly is happening between Zimbabwe and Iran, how does Zimbabwe get to benefit economically, we are joined by two interesting gentlemen. We have got Ambassador Christopher Mchangwa, who is a ZANU-PF spokesperson, and we also have Dr. Zach Murerwa, who is an economic analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Ambassador, let's start by understanding the significance of the visit that we've seen the Iranian president coming to Zimbabwe. We know of the historical context that Zimbabwe and Iran do have relations. Now, can you just unpack the significance of this particular visit?
Well, it's a very, very important visit between the two countries. That President Raisi is in Zimbabwe. He has been to Kenya, he has been to Uganda, now he's in Zimbabwe. This is at a time when Iran is on an offensive, an outward offensive, courting friendships, particularly with the Global South. It is coming out of a very tough period of very painful American sanctions, similar to the ones which we have been through as Zimbabwe.
Right.
So we are two sanctioned friends, sanctioned by the superpower, the only superpower which is in the world. But they are breaking out of that sanctions just as much as we are also breaking out of the stranglehold of American sanctions. Last month, I think he was in Latin America. He went to Venezuela, another sanctioned country. And then he went to Cuba, I think it was Cuba, and another American country. Then afterwards, he went to the rising superpower of the Southeast Asia, which is Indonesia. And, China has recently brokered an agreement where the two powerful neighbors in the Middle East, Iran and Saudi Arabia, have coming together. So there is a new sense of camaraderie coming out of Tehran, and they're extending it now to Africa, which they view as a continent of opportunities. And today we are having in Zimbabwe old friends indeed. For those who may want to remember, our history of freedom, one of the heaviest body blows which was delivered to Ian Smith was when Iran was shifted from being an appendage of America under the Shah of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, and it became a revolutionary Iran under the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini in 1978. And one of the first bold acts which he did was to sanction Rhodesia by refusing to supply crude oil to the Feruka refinery. Remember, the Feruka refinery was built for Iranian oil. So it was sanctioned by Iran, and Smith suddenly had no fuel. It made his war machine start to falter. Of course, we compounded it as Zanla guerrillas by the attack on the fuel complex in Southampton. Those were body blows, and Iran was one of the most demoralizing advents from our war against Ian Smith.
Now, to bring you to the conversation, Dr. Murerwa, let's understand in terms of the MOUs that have been seen being signed between Zimbabwe and Iran. We have got 12 MOUs in the agriculture, health and child care. Can you talk to us on the significance of these MOUs?
Yeah, for the benefit of the viewers, let me just highlight the importance of exploring geopolitical spaces that arise on the economic front. If you look at the mantra, the motto that Zimbabwe has adopted, right? Friends to all, enemy to none.
Right.
If you look at the trade preferences that Zimbabwe has had, it's open-ended in terms of saying, no, look, we'll neither look here, east or west or neither thereabouts. We are totally open for business. And this visit becomes very critical from a perspective of foreign direct investment. When you talk about MOUs, I have seen, and historically, people just describing MOUs as documents. No, they are not. They are a manifestation of a clear economic path of recovery in particular sectors. So be it tourism, be it the energy sector that Ambassador was talking about, be it mining, and so on and so forth. So the 12 MOUs that have been signed today will go a long way in increasing our gross domestic product. Because what we need as Zimbabwe is to increase our ratio on foreign direct investment, because we are not capacitated in some respects in terms of the industrialization drive. So it's very difficult to get a nation where you totally click, and through joint commissions and binational agreements, it's going to benefit us. So ultimately, the downstream benefits would result in industrialization, employment creation in those various sectors, trade, that is going to be increased. As what President Raisi said, that Africa is a continent of opportunities. So is Zimbabwe. It is a continent of opportunities. We are endowed with natural resources. We have comparative advantages, but sometimes we lack the technology, the expertise, and we hope these binational agreements will help us in those respects.
Ambassador Mchangwa, let's get to understand the significance of MOUs. Some people would want to know whether how binding is the MOU and whether it brings results that the Zimbabweans would be looking forward. When you hear that the Iranian president is in the country, MOUs have been signed, how binding are these and what sort of results can be expected from that?
You see, an MOU is a product of interaction between business partners. They agree at that level first. Then they seek the support of the two respective governments to create the environment to make sure that the MOUs are put to work. So we have 12 MOUs with Iran right now. They cover the pharmaceutical sector, one of them. They are going to be building a production line for pharmaceuticals in this country. This is an area where we singularly need outward investment. And remember, Iran is one of the most advanced countries in the pharmaceutical sector.
In terms of that,
they were a rich country for many years because of their oil. They worked with the Western countries when the Shah of Iran was in charge. So they developed advanced technologies in various fields, of which the pharmaceutical sector is one of them. Their medicines are up to scratch, but more important, their production systems are very affordable. And they have a lot of intellectual property in their own right. We don't have to pay through the nose for intellectual property, which we do to the big pharmaceutical companies of the West, which are extortionate and make Africans pay through, they have a difficult time accessing medicine. So this is a good thing for Iran to come and put a production line right here in Zimbabwe. Iran is also good in agriculture equipment. Remember, I told you they used to work with the best of American equipment, and they've remained with that intellectual property. They produce massive Ferguson tractors. These are
of course, talk of agriculture, there is an important role when it comes to how agric is key in terms of the country achieving Vision 2030. We are going to take a short break. When you come back, Ambassador and Dr. Murerwa will go on to explain the significance of this visit, especially at the larger scale of the country's economic development. This is the second segment of your favorite program, Economics 101, and today it's all about unpacking the significance of relations between Zimbabwe and Iran. As you know that His Excellency President Said Ibrahim Raisi is in Zimbabwe for a state visit, and there, of course, we have talked about it in the first segment. 12 MOUs signed, and in the building we do have Ambassador Mchangwa and Dr. Murerwa to really help us unpack some of the issues around these. Now let's talk about technology. I know he touched on agriculture earlier on, but within the area of technology, how does Zimbabwe benefit from relating to Iran in terms of moving forward?
Now, if you look at in terms of human capacities, the technological hubs, the technological advancement that Iran has, we can consolidate this. Look at what we've done in terms of our universities through Education 5.1. And we have done a lot in terms of innovation hubs, in terms of technology, in terms of that which we need to have. Not that we are totally incapacitated. I think we have got a very good human resource, but we need transfer of technology, transfer of skills in various sectors. And he was talking about the pharmaceutical. And I was looking, for example, following the visit by the vice president, I think it was sometime in February,
yes,
right, where I look at how Iran has actually advanced in terms of technology in the pharmaceutical, in the health sector. It's just amazing. So that's what we need to complement the current government efforts, so that when you buy into your 14 national priority areas, we have the necessary backup in terms of the technological hub.
You speak of our universities, and I know that we now have University of Zimbabwe in collaboration with other universities are producing the number plates. And then among other initiatives that are happening, we know we've got those innovation hubs. What do you think needs to be done within that line of innovation to really tap into what Iran has to benefit Zimbabwe?
Right. So what you need to do, we are saying the innovation is the introductory aspect in terms of apps. So what you want to do now is to blow this to a commercial scale, so that the technologies, the things that you see that our youth, our youngsters are doing, look at what HIT is doing as an example. Just amazing, amazing technology.
Production of transformers.
Yes. So what you need to do is to have foreign direct investments, so that you create economies of scale that are sustainable in terms of our desired infrastructure and what we have at the moment. And we believe an agreement through which would actually ignite foreign direct investment would have that transfer of technology. And I know is well capacitated in that, and that is in the right direction.
Ambassador, you are a farmer in your own right.
Yes.
Agriculture-wise, I know that Zimbabwe's economy is anchored or pillared on agriculture, and His Excellency is on record saying agriculture and mining are two of our key economic pillars when it comes to the economic turnaround. What do you think Zimbabwe can do to benefit immensely from Iran when it comes to agriculture?
Well, in the first instance, we already have a very big trade with Iran in a particular crop, the leaf tobacco sector. Remember, Iran has got a population of 80 to 90 million people. That's a major population by any standards.
And a big market for tobacco.
And a big market for tobacco. But beyond that, Iran trades with all its neighbors. So it is really the entry point of most of the products which are sold to its neighbors, Azerbaijan, Afghanistan, all the Stanis in that area. So Iran could become a major entrepot, a port where we distribute our goods and services, to the various markets of the former Soviet bloc countries. Iran is a good entry point. And remember also, Iran has got very good technology, in many fields, because of course, we've got to take it. Remember, when we talk about Mesopotamia, long way back, 4,000 years ago, we are talking of Iran. We are talking of Persia. Remember the Persian Wars. These are people who have always been creative and innovative, and they've had a continuous civilization, literally for more than 4,000 years. So it's an organic country, but it's our neighbor. Through the Indian Ocean, people tend to think of trade with Zimbabwe and Europe, but we've got to go round South Africa to through the Atlantic. Our natural neighborhood is the literal Indian Ocean, of which Iran is part of that. So historically, we have been together with Iran in Africa, even during our great civilizations. Kilwa on the Rovuma River in Tanzania was a trading relationship with Zimbabwe well before the Portuguese came. So we are establishing historical relationships in which were renewed, of course, by the Iranian Revolution. So in agriculture, they're a big market. They are also a big access market to other areas. And they also can bring equipment. Remember, we had Messi Ferguson tractors from Iran being assembled.
Quite popular in Zimbabwe.
They were very popular, but it was not from America, it was from Iran. We could have a production line now. We need 40,000 tractors. Iran could be a substantial supplier because they're a major producer of equipment. But even at the forefront of technology, look at what they've done with the drones. Russia is using Iranian drones, which even Russia is to admit they reverse engineer the American technology. They are at the forefront of software engineering, Iranians. So for Education 5.0, the jump from education to skills, which requires investment, which requires transfer of knowledge. Iran is already the production lines. You don't have to invent the wheel. You can be educated. You can do a lot of research, but you cannot it's not easy to apply that knowledge because you need capital. And Iran is a major producer of oil. It has a lot of capital in its own right. It is one of the main suppliers of energy to the world. So capital is not an issue for Iran per se, but they also have this experience of surviving on their own in adversity against American sanctions. That's what we want to tap on.
Talking of sanctions, Ambassador, we want to zero in on that now.